From the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is the News 8 Daily 8.
Now, the latest news.
Kylie Conway has the latest news. The top headlines. News you can use.
Please stand by.
Sponsored by LCS Heating and Cooling. Now, here's Wish TV's Kylie Conway.
Hi, this is Kylie Conway, and this is the News 8 Daily 8 for Thursday, July 1st. Rain and storms will be ongoing through your Thursday morning as the activity begins to slowly shift southward. By tonight, a lot of the state looks to be dry. A front will be moving across our area. Highs will top out in the upper 70s to low 80s. The Trump Organization and its chief financial officer are facing charges. We expect to learn the exact counts today when prosecutors in New York release them publicly. The Associated Press reports the charges involve employee benefits. The district attorney in Manhattan has been investigating the Trump business empire and former President Trump for at least 2 years. The organization's lawyers met with prosecutors last week and say that the new charges are not against the former president or his family members. College athletes can now make money from their name, image, and likeness. It's a big move by the NCAA, and overnight, Indiana University announced it is updating the policy to help student athletes profit. The policy is an interim status while the NCAA works with Congress and states to come up with a national framework. Still, it now allows student athletes to profit from sponsorship opportunities for the first time. Now, IU is taking action, releasing a new name, image, and likeness policy in an effort to help student athletes make that money. Starting today, players can be contacted directly to discuss agreements. The new policy encourages athletes to work with agents to find endorsements. IU says it is one of the first athletic departments to announce an NIL policy, and already 95% of IU's student athletes use Open Doors. It's an endorsement app that helps athletes understand, build, protect, and monetize their brand. The school says it's been preparing for this moment for about a year after creating a task force last August. IU Athletics also announced a partnership with a name, image, and likeness advisory company. IU's head basketball coach Mike Woodson tweeted in response to the new policy early this morning saying, "I think the young men and women who represent Indiana will have the opportunity to be at the forefront of this legislation and will benefit greatly." Now, you might remember the move from the NCAA to allow students to profit comes after the Supreme Court unanimously decided last week that student athletes could receive education-related payments. 7 states now have laws designed to open up the markets for college athletes, but at this point, the state of Indiana does not. Still, the NCAA move could reshape college sports by allowing some money from a billion-dollar industry to go to these students. And new laws do go into effect today in Indiana. That includes changes sparked by last summer's racial justice protests and unrest. The state's law enforcement training board must create mandatory de-escalation training for police. Chokeholds are now banned under certain situations, many situations. And there are also harsher penalties for people involved in a riot. Rioters can face felony charges if unrest causes property damage or if someone gets injured or killed. A federal judge placed a temporary injunction on an abortion reversal law. It would have required doctors to tell women undergoing drug-induced abortions about a controversial treatment that can or could stop the process. The judge ruled abortion rights groups may be able to prove the law violated free speech protections. He also found that the state has not proven the effectiveness of the treatment. A judge also ruled a law requiring teachers' unions to get annual approval for automatic union dues withdrawals violates First Amendment rights to free speech. Teachers' unions in Anderson, Avon, and Martinsville sued to stop the law. They felt the law would have unfairly targeted teachers. Also today, state leaders are talking about the enforcement of Indiana's hands-free driving law. INDOT is holding a press conference to mark the 1-year anniversary of the law. It makes it illegal to have your cell phone in your hand while driving. According to the Indiana Criminal Justice Institute, distracted driving associated with cell phones factored into more than 1,200 crashes in 2019. The NTSB says that states with hands-free driving laws have seen a nearly 20% decrease in traffic deaths within 2 years of passing the law. And you'll notice changes in Marion County this morning. COVID-19 restrictions are officially lifted. Bars, restaurants, salons, and sports venues can be at full capacity. The mask mandate is lifted, but health officials recommend that anyone who is not vaccinated still mask up. There are also no longer social distancing requirements. Marion County is the most fully vaccinated county in Indiana at more than 392,000 people. That's according to the state health department. And now to protecting children from the Delta variant of COVID-19. More health leaders are saying it's important for children who can't get vaccinated to keep wearing masks. The U.S. Surgeon General shared this advice with vaccinated parents.
I think it's very reasonable for parents who are living with kids who are unvaccinated, or for that matter, other family members who are unvaccinated, to consider wearing a mask.
Current CDC guidance advises anyone who isn't vaccinated to wear a mask. Dr. Vivek Murthy also says that guidance will remain in place unless scientific evidence suggests otherwise. The CDC says at least 25% of all COVID-19 cases are caused by the Delta variant. The Red Cross is issuing a challenge to roll up your sleeve and help save a life. Donate soon and you can get free stuff too. For the next 6 days, the Red Cross is giving donors a free hat. Then between the 7th and the end of the month, you can get a $10 Amazon gift card. Everyone who donates in July will also have a chance to win gas for a year. You can find more information on our website, wishtv.com. Just click on the As Seen on Wish TV section at the top of the page, and then on this story. The mystery songbird deaths are now hitting central Indiana. The DNR confirmed cases in Marion County and all the counties surrounding it. There are now known cases in more than half of the counties in Indiana. Blue jays, robins, grackles, starlings, cardinals, and brown-headed cowbirds appear to be the most affected. As we've reported on Daybreak, the DNR recommends removing bird baths and bird feeders from your home. Police are looking for answers about the death of a man found in a retention pond. It happened in a neighborhood in the northwest part of Greenfield yesterday afternoon. Police got a call of a truck in the water and found a pickup partially submerged and a 61-year-old man face down in the water. Detectives are now asking for any surveillance footage to piece together what led to the man's death. And this morning, we are learning more about IMPD's plans to boost security downtown. So we talked about it here on the podcast yesterday. Police had said there would be more patrols after a string of violence. Now, News 8 has learned of a meeting this week with police, Downtown Indy Inc., and business owners. IMPD Assistant Chief Chris Bailey tells us there will be more state police in the area. Bailey also says there will be DUI checkpoints in order to discourage people from bringing guns downtown. And city agencies like Business Neighborhood Services, Indiana Excise Police, and the Fire Marshal to put pressure on businesses to self-police. This comes after an early Sunday morning shooting outside a bar on Meridian Street just south of Monument Circle. Assistant Chief Bailey says the issues come from the same few places.
I know it didn't happen inside my business. Well, that's fine, but over-serving for hours is occurring in your business. Overcrowding, so where people spill drinks and bumping each other and have opportunities to have disagreements, is happening inside your establishment.
Bailey tells News 8 that the added enforcement will stick around for as long as police believe it's needed. Wish TV medical expert Dr. Jerome Adams is back on Capitol Hill this morning. The former Surgeon General is set to testify before the House Select Committee on COVID-19. Dr. Adams says the focus will be the continued vaccine uncertainty in some areas of the country and how to overcome it. As of this morning, the CDC shows more than 154 million people are fully vaccinated. That's 46% of the U.S. population. 54% of Americans have at least one shot. Dr. Adams hopes community engagement will boost these vaccine numbers.
I think you're going to hear that we need more ground level community engagement, that you can't fix decades of distrust from the national level, that we really need to engage with community groups, with pastors, with workplaces. That's what I'm going to be talking about, and that's what I hope to hear from the other people who'll be testifying.
That congressional hearing is set to begin at 9 this morning. Dr. Adams will also join us after the hearing live on Wish TV. That'll be today at 5 p.m. In California, 17 people, including several police officers, are hurt after fireworks blew up inside a bomb squad truck. It happened in Los Angeles. Investigators say they got a tip that someone had 8,000 pounds of illegal fireworks and homemade explosives in a house. Officials say the blast happened as officers intentionally detonated some of the material.
Protocols were followed and pursued, but something happened in that containment vehicle that should not have happened, and we don't know why, but we intend to find out why.
Police arrested one man who faces several criminal charges. President Biden is scheduled to head to South Florida today. He'll play the role of consoler-in-chief and meet the rescue crews and families of those still missing in the condo collapse. Right now, if you've seen the video, it's just piles of rubble where the condos once stood. Now, Biden's visit comes a week after the 12-story building fell, killing at least 18 people. This morning, 145 are still unaccounted for. Officials released the names of 4 more victims, including 2 sisters who were only 4 and 10 years old. There's also new video that shows debris and water gushing into the underground garage. It's an area inspectors said needed repairs years earlier. Crews have been working around the clock to sift through the rubble, looking for any signs of life. And officials say they're not giving up.
This will be a fact-finding, not fault-finding, technical investigation. It will take time, possibly a couple of years, but we will not stop until we've determined the likely cause of this tragedy.
Crews are also facing challenges when it comes to weather. Rain and thunderstorms are in the forecast for today. And this morning, the Indiana Task Force 1 is in Surfside, Florida. A crew of 80 will be assisting in search and recovery efforts at the site of the collapse. The crew is taking semis full of heavy machinery to help move the debris and specialized search equipment to help them find any possible survivors. The team also has dogs that can track human scent through feet of concrete.
I think everyone still has hope, and we pray that we'll find someone alive. But the other side of it is the human tragedy.
If you come across a victim, if you recover a victim, if you're exposed to that, recognizing that that's somebody's mother, somebody's father, we all have mothers and fathers. We all have children. We all have grandmas and grandpas. And I think that's one of the more challenging things that I've had to deal with through my career.
Task Force 1 is going to accompany people from Ohio, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey who were also deployed last evening. Now to a warning from the Department of Homeland Security. The department is concerned political tensions could lead to major problems this summer. The DHS says the same false narratives and rhetoric that fueled the January 6th riot at the U.S. Capitol could result in more violence. They say there's an increase in the number of right-wing extremists who believe former President Trump will be reinstated this August. At this point, the department says there is no evidence of a potential threat linked to the supposed day the conspiracy theory declares for Trump's return to the White House, though. A new committee in the U.S. House will look into the Capitol insurrection on a vote that unified Democrats and brought over 2 Republicans. Liz Cheney of Wyoming and Adam Kinzinger of Illinois voted yes as part of the 222 to 190 tally yesterday. Kinzinger released a statement saying he voted in favor of the committee because the truth matters, in his words. The committee will have 13 members chosen by the House Speaker. They'll investigate what led up to the riot and what went wrong with security during it. The House has not set a deadline for the committee to deliver results. Bill Cosby is a free man this morning. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court overturned the 83-year-old sexual assault conviction yesterday on a technicality. The court found that the district attorney broke a requirement to uphold a previous DA's promise not to charge Cosby. Now we're hearing from the freed comedian. He posted on Twitter, "I have never changed my stance nor my story. I've always maintained my innocence." Now, one of Cosby's accusers is calling the court's decision disappointing. Andrea Constand and her attorneys released a statement. It reads that the verdict may discourage those who seek justice for sexual assault from reporting or being involved in prosecution. Constand testified that Cosby drugged and assaulted her in 2004. Cosby's attorney says the trial never should have happened in the first place.
I do not believe we had a fair trial, and I don't believe you can look at this verdict and put any stock in it, frankly.
Cosby served almost 3 years of his 3 to 10-year sentence. Travel during the 4th of July weekend could be heavy. AAA says almost 48 million people are expected to either fly or drive somewhere over the holiday. That's a 40% increase compared to last year during the pandemic. An analyst with transportation analytics company INRIX spoke with USA Today. He says our neighbors in Chicago could see some of the heaviest traffic. The analyst says the area could see around 50% more delays than normal. All right, so according to INRIX, if you're planning to hit the road over the holiday weekend, the best time to do so is tonight after 7 o'clock, before noon tomorrow, Friday, after 2 p.m. on Saturday, and then for your return trip Monday morning. Try to avoid the worst times. Those would be during evening rush hour today, tomorrow, and Monday, and around lunchtime on Saturday. The police and fire departments in Indianapolis say they are ready for this year's 4th of July celebration downtown. Officials say the new location for fireworks allows for a bigger show. They'll be shot off from above Meridian in Michigan.
That location allows us to shoot 4-inch shells off of that location because of the distance between residential and the areas around it.
Again, this is a new location. Some of the areas that you're going to be able to witness it from are going to be kind of unique and different to what you've seen in the past. Because we're going up about 400 feet on the fireworks, if you're going to be south of the monument, you really won't have a good view. Anything south of the monument won't, because as I said, we're going up about 400 feet off the building.
Officials expect 50,000 to 100,000 downtown watching the 21-minute show. Parking is free downtown on Sunday. The show is set to start at 10 o'clock. Britney is not free. A Los Angeles Superior Court judge denied the request to remove Britney Spears' father as co-conservator of her estate. The ruling is on a motion filed in November and not based on last week's testimony where Spears said the conservatorship was abusive. The November motion asked a judge to allow a trust to be a co-conservator alongside the pop star's father. And this year, it's taking a lot longer to get a pet to the vet. Local veterinarians are saying that they're overwhelmed, reporting 8-hour wait times in the emergency room, and they're booking standard appointments 5 weeks out. It's blamed at least in part on the pandemic. So Brenna Donnelly, she went to a vet ER on the west side, and that vet is reporting more than 600 emergency cases a day. That's about a 50% increase from 2019. But some parents aren't sure it's the pandemic's fault. Here's Brenna.
I got the grand pup here. Her name's Peanut.
Peanut has a broken leg.
And so all I had to do was come in here and just get the bandage changed, and it was like 2 hours.
Mozzie has one too, but their owners might be the ones feeling sick.
Well, my mother, she was waiting about 4 to 5 hours.
I've never had to wait this long.
Inside, it's a rush. A dog with a loose eye, a cat struggling to breathe, a room of ICU patients, and a busy clinic staff.
Yeah, they're exhausted. They're exhausted mentally and physically.
So what's the problem?
All the vet clinics have kind of gotten backed up over the quarantine time. Some of the clinics had to close down. Clients have been spending more time with their pets, maybe noticing more issues with them.
There's also a huge spike in adoptions, so more regular care and more chances for ER visits.
Extremely overwhelmed, yes, for sure.
And why aren't they opening up the building? Clinic support staffer Tom Dock says they have a small staff, small space, and as you've seen, long wait times. So they'd rather you stay in your car to decrease everyone's exposure.
You get a lot of calls from frustrated pet parents, wanting to know what the holdup is, what's taking so long, how their pet's doing. And so we try to keep their mind at ease and let them know, we're doing the best we can in here.
I shared what I learned with Peanut's grandmom, and she wasn't so sure.
Well, I was the first one here, and I got here at 9:30, and I was the only one here. And I've watched like 5 or 6 cars go, and I've been sitting in the same spot for 2 hours.
There is hope for shorter wait times, at least on the clinic side. The backlog of regular appointments should wind down as time goes by, Brenna reports. But for the emergency room, vet staff are still asking for patience, saying that they take the worst ailments first, and so you don't want to be at the front of the line. And now to business headlines. The IRS has a massive backlog of tax returns, causing a refund delay for millions of people. It offered no time frame on how long it will take to sort through 35 million unprocessed returns. The IRS's budget has been depleted in the past decade, leading to backlogs and lower enforcement, and the pandemic was a further setback. Wireless companies have had until the last day of June to implement call authentication technology to stop robocalls. They must tell the Federal Communications Commission whether they are complying with the agency's requirements, risking possible penalties. An estimated 4 billion robocalls rung in on people's cell phones in the month of May alone. 12 calls per person on average, according to anti-fraud app company Umail. Chip Ganassi has sold his NASCAR team to Trackhouse Racing and will pull out of the nation's top stock car series at the end of the season. Ganassi fields 2 cars in the Cup Series, but will transfer his North Carolina race shop and all its assets to Marks for 2022. Ganassi still has Indy cars. Apple's struggling streaming service, which it launched in November of 2019, has brought a button on the Roku remote, a surprise tie-up with a popular streaming stick maker that Apple hopes will expand its customer base. So that gives easy access buttons for Netflix, Disney+, Hulu, and now Apple TV. It's believed that this is the first time Apple has put its branding on a competitor's hardware. General Mills said it expects inflation to raise its costs and announced plans to raise prices. The packaged food company said total cost inflation is expected to amount to about 7% of the company's cost of goods sold expense line. It does expect at-home food demand will wane the rest of this year. And to some sports, the Iowa Cubs and Indians are back on the field for Game 3 tonight. The Indians got the win yesterday, 2-1. First pitch is set for just after 7 tonight. You can watch it on our sister station, MyIndy TV 23. And now to the Pacers. New head coach, who we know well, is mapping out his vision for the team. Rick Carlisle spoke at length about his hopes. News 8's Charlie Clifford tells us why Carlisle thinks he can re-energize this franchise.
I'm really so fortunate, so excited to be back in the great state of Indiana, where basketball is king.
The Pacers zeroed in, and this deal quickly got done. Rick Carlisle returning to the heartland of hoops. Yes, emotions from a previous exit following the brawl still exist, but optimism around this roster make for an easy reunion.
I really like the roster. I mean, this is my kind of team. You know, as I look at the roster, we've got to get this team as healthy as possible. I like the way they're talking. I like the tone. Unless you've won a championship, I think there's always unfinished business. You know, we're a small market team. We're a humble organization. I say we because now I'm a part of this organization again. But we've got to think big.
Rick Carlisle doesn't necessarily need a Reggie Miller type scorer, but that Reggie me against the world mentality is something that this franchise desperately needs. Which Pacer All-Star caliber player will step forward under Carlisle and establish this as his team?
Domas Sabonis was an All-Star this year. I think he's the guy that people look at as sort of the main guy, but I really feel like this is a team, it's a strength in numbers type of situation. I look at Malcolm Brogdon, I look at Karis LeVert. TJ Warren didn't even play last year. Miles Turner is the best rim protector in the game. Yes, you know, identifying who the guys are and where the ball's going to go in crunch time is important.
Carlisle's cast, completely new. Plenty to debate for round 2. Charlie Clifford, Wish TV, wishtv.com, and follow us on Facebook.
This has been your News 8 Daily for Wish TV. I'm Kylie Conway, online at wishtv.com, and follow us on Facebook when you search Wish TV.
The News 8 Daily 8 is sponsored by LCS Heating and Cooling. Be sure to like and subscribe to this podcast, The News 8 Daily 8 with Kylie Conway. And be sure to discover even more great podcasts now at allindianapodcastnetwork.com.